Have you ever wanted to let users log into your app with just one click using their Google account? In this video, I'll show you exactly how to add Google sign-in to your web application using Amazon Cognito. No more struggling with the complex authentication flows. By the end of these tutorials, your existing Cognito authentication will have secure Google login up and running in minutes.
In order to add social login such as Google to our application using Cognito, we can go to Cognito user pool that we just created. On the left-hand side, under authentication, we have social and external providers. Let's click on that, and we can click on Add Identity Provider. And here you have several options. You can do Facebook, Amazon, Apple, SAML, OpenID Connect. It's just the kind of general stuff. Or you can use Google, right? Let's go ahead and use Google here. We select Google. What we need to do here is we need to add client ID, client secret, and authorized scopes. And then we also need to map the attributes. Since we have one attribute name, right, we will need to map the attributes from Google. So how do we do that? You can click on the registration instructions right here, and it basically gives you the steps that you need to do in order to get the client ID and client secret from Google. So it tells us to go to developer account, create a project, and add the domain, and then create auth 2.0 credentials, and also add auth domain ID response URL. And then we can add auth client ID and client secret of Google to this identity provider configuration. So let's go ahead and do just that. Here I am in Google Developer Console. Let's go ahead and create a new project. We can call our project React, Router App, Cognito, Auth. And we just leave as is, no organization. I don't think I have any, right? And we can click Create. Right after we created this new project, but looks like it still gives us the overview of the old project that I created. So we need to switch to the React Router App Cognito project, right? So I'm just going to make sure we are here. So it says Google Auth platform is not configured yet. We can just get started, right? So app information. We can use the same name for the app, React Router App Cognito Auth. Then supported email, right? You can select your email right here. So select your Google email, obviously, right? You can click Next. Audience. Audience will be external audience. Then you can click Next. On the contact information, you can put email address, whatever you want to be contacted. It doesn't have to be the same as your Google email address. Then you click Next. You agree to Google API services and user data policy. And let's click Continue, and let's click Create. Next, what we're going to do is to create auth client. So let's click on that. In the application type, let's select Web Application. The client name. We can name it Cognito Client. And now we need to add authorized JavaScript origins. That's what Cognito information was talking about, right? So we need to add a URI. So if we go back, right, it's going to tell us add your user pool domain. And we already know that we can go on the left-hand side right here if we need to look up the domain right here on the domains, right? You can get your domain here. But I already have it copied, so let me just put it in. All right, and the next thing that we need to do is authorized redirect URI. So right here in Cognito in step 5, the authorized redirect URI is basically your user pool domain / auth 2 ID response. Let's go ahead and add that to Google. I copied it already as well, and I'm going to just paste it, right? And now we click Create button. All right, and that's what we have here. We have a client ID. So let's go ahead and copy this client ID. We can put it in our client ID in Cognito. Okay, let's click OK. And we got this Cognito client, right? And we also have a client secret right here. So you're going to copy this client secret and you can put it into your client secret right here in the Cognito as well. Next, we need to put the authorized scopes, right? And in our case, we're going to put the same scopes as we had before, right? We put the scopes OpenID, email, and profile. Let's go ahead and do just that. And you gotta make sure you separate your scopes with spaces. And finally, let's go ahead and map the name attribute to the Google attribute. So the one that we can use is the name attribute in Google attributes. So it's going to get mapped in our Cognito token, basically, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And I guess we're all set. So we can click Add Identity Provider. The next thing that we need to do is to add Google Identity Provider that we created to the login screen, right? So we can do that by going to App Clients in Cognito. We can create React Router Cognito Auth Client. And here we have login pages. So let's select that. We can click Edit. So now if we look at the Identity Provider section of the login configuration, if we click on a drop-down, we can also see the Google. So now we can use both Cognito User Pool as Identity Provider and Google as well. Let's select that, and all we have to do is to save changes. So let's go back to our application and start the dev server. Let's go ahead and run npm run dev. All right, the app is running. Let's go to the browser and let's click on Get Started. Now we got redirected to the login page and we can see there is Sign In with Google button. Let's go ahead and click that. Okay, it's gonna ask me to choose an account. I'm gonna choose this account. The next screen will tell the user that the Cognito application is gonna have access to the name and the email. So we're gonna click Continue. And now you can see we are logged in into our application. And that's it. You've added Google Sign In to your app with Cognito. But this is just a part of the authentication process. If you want to take your authentication to the next level and learn how to add fully fledged authentication to your React application, check out my next video right here.